So we're coming back to the podcast with part 2. Got good old Austin J. Cook on the show, Yo-Yo Man and voice actor. Let's jump back in the fun, see where we left off at. Hear about some video games, movies, whatever the hell we were talking about.
Hey guys, give me 1 second. I got a cool thing. My little brother got me a, holy shit, that's a real Obelisk the Tormentor. He got me an Obelisk the Tormentor Yu-Gi-Oh card, like a real one.
Oh.
That, you know, that really...
Is that a pretty heavy, is that a big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh? I never played Yu-Gi-Oh myself.
You know what? It's actually one of the Egyptian god cards, and it's a rare holographic. I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome looking.
You
looks kind of like something out of Final Fantasy, like one of those, things, the
Summons.
demons. Yeah.
You know what? Getting on the idea of Final Fantasy, did you guys play Final Fantasy 15, both of you?
Yeah, I finished it.
I'm not done with it. I started it. I'm like, I'm at the
All right.
point.
So you both are going to hear a little story. I actually talked with my friend yesterday about it. I thought it would be an interesting topic for the podcast.
Oh, nice.
No, this is not going to be nice.
It's not a nice story. It's like a very unfriendly, violent. It's a Terra Strong story.
It was my downfall in Final Fantasy 15. So I haven't played Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 13. And the way I played the original game was I ran through the entire game, but before I did the third mission, the third story mission, I traveled around and I did all the side missions that I possibly could and leveled my character up as much as I can. Now, I was told that is the best way to do it. That is the right way to do it because you get the story. Because remember, Final Fantasy is basically an anime in a game. You're taking an entire anime, throwing it into a game. The best way to learn stuff about the series is to look stuff up and learn about it. Now, my biggest downfall within the game was, and I'm going to give you a short little run of what my entire Final Fantasy playthrough was like. I beat the game already. I beat it in 10 hours.
Final Fantasy 15?
In 10 hours. You want to know how?
Just skipping all the side stuff?
Yes. And guess what? Worst idea ever. Because I was level
Getting
32.
fisted.
I was level 32 at the final fucking boss.
Oh yeah, because I was almost 50 by the time I was the final boss.
I can't fucking believe I did that. I knew it wasn't right every single time. Okay, so any spoilers for people who are playing the game and haven't gotten there yet?
That's me, but I'll go right ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. So I'm pretty sure you guys have played Final Fantasy where you remember those. So I'm going to jump through it. Beginning of the game. Just kid leaves his house in search of some real cool mystical weapons and then ends up at this mechanic shop, meets this blonde girl, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't really want to do any of the side quests. And every time they sent me on a quest, I was like, okay, well, I went, I did it, I was done. And all the dungeons and stuff was so much fun, and there was so much strength to it, but I can't believe I did this, and it's frustrating. I skipped and did every story mission because I got enveloped in the story of the game. And I got enveloped in the main story and I said, I want to see what happens next. So I kept doing it. And then at some point at one of the dungeons, I said, I can't fight this. So I'm going to go and I'm going to level up a little bit. And then as soon as I got to level like 20, I said, all right, I can go in there. I can fuck everybody up. And I did it. Now let's skip forward about 5 or 6 story missions later. After I've met one of the main antagonists, and it's some immortal guy, and it's so awesome. And then at the end of the game, I'm there. I did the time skip and everything, and they said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty skilled. I can dodge it. I can dodge everybody's attacks. I think I got it. I skipped. I did that. There was the time skip. I woke up on an island. I ended up at the docks. And then the first character I run into is a level 65. That little green guy with the hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that little motherfucker. He stabbed me and I died.
They're like that in every Final Fantasy game. They're always like, when you see him, you're like, fuck, I gotta battle this thing now.
It was so sad.
Cactus?
No, not the
Guess
cactus.
what?
They're Tonberry is what their name is.
The Tonberries, and I ran past them, and I ran past this giant wolf monster and those big bitches with the hammers. like those big buff guys with
Yeah,
the
the
fire
iron giant guys.
Iron
Yeah.
giant things. Yeah.
I was just like, I was losing my shit. I was like, I have to run. I can't fight these guys, and I can't go back in time. And then I realized
You went too far where you're past the dog, because the dog could take you back in time.
I can, but that was after I had found that out.
Sounds so fucking goofy. What can take you back in time? That dog can take you back in time.
I had to run from. I thought this was part of the game where every character was supposed to be OP as fuck.
Mhm.
And they are. They're supposed to be OP. They're supposed to be overpowered and strong, and I understand that. But I ran past everybody, all the giant enemies, and then some guy. I was like, I need a vehicle. I need a car. I need something. I can't run all the way back to the fucking shop. And then this truck drives up, and I'm like, oh my god, he saved me. And then he's like, it's the little kid from the rest of the
Yeah.
game, from the beginning of the game. The little kid that lost his grandfather. Yeah, all that sad shit. We go back, and then we go, and the dog offers me a chance to go back in time and, you know, do my side quests and everything. And I'm like, I think I'm all right where I am. I had a level 4 sword. I didn't level it up like I should have. I didn't go and do all the side quests and stuff. I thought I was strong enough to fight the final boss. I fought Satan, and I won with level 32, and I felt awesome. But then there was the final boss, which was the immortal guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, Ryan, you will enjoy fighting him.
Really?
All you have to know is how to dodge.
I've
Just
been trying to
dodge.
do that. Look, I'll be honest. It's like, I remember video games when they were turn-based. So
Yeah.
now I'm just like, I gotta move
if you-
around. God damn it!
It's
I'm not
weird.
used to this.
It's weird because I have played third-person fighters most of my life.
Mhm.
Me and Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, me and that game are like blood brothers at this point. But when I got to the end of the game, I realized I was not strong enough. I should not have done what I was doing because there was an ending, and I don't know if everybody gets it, but I remember distinctively my 3 friends just died because
Spoilers,
they weren't.
they die. Oh, you mean like in your party in the game? Okay, I thought you meant
If
the
their
story
level
wise they
isn't
die.
high enough, he throws these 3 purple things at their necks and kills them.
Oh, I didn't get that ending.
Oh damn!
It's
Spoilers, so I don't do
if
that.
you're too low of a level, he just kills them.
Pronto could go away for all I
And
know.
I
I'd
was
be
like-
sad to lose. I'd be sad to lose Gladios and Ignis. Kind of cool. I don't feel sad about Prompto. Prompto can
I'm
go. It's
sorry.
like,
I'm sorry, but I felt so bad for Ignis when he was blind because even when I told him, no, stay here while we go and get the next weapon, regardless of what you say, he goes with you.
he'll never get his cooking show.
Oh, does he go? I kind of wondered that because I said, I'm like, well, maybe this will boost him a little bit and he'll just go with me.
I told him because he was blind. I said, you stay here. I don't want you dying. And he said, I'm going anyway. And then he said, I hope I'm not a bother. And I said, you made me the guiltiest person in my world because I told you to stay back. You decided to come along, and now everybody's getting mad at me because your blind ass keeps tripping, falling, and you're having trouble seeing inside of a fucking swamp.
Well, I hate how, like, Gladys is like, hey, Noctis, slow down. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's a fucking video game. I'm the one leading the goddamn party here. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. This isn't real life.
Yeah, and you know what the saddest part about it is that I got that ending where they died. They died because they weren't a high enough level.
Is there a way to get them all high except Pronto?
No, I don't think so.
Is there a way to do that where I can level up these 2, but then Prompto's the only one that dies? If there's a way to do that.
The only thing is, I love Pronto's special. That's the only thing that makes up for him. I like that fucking, like, the shooting one he has. I don't remember what it's called anymore. Like, Dick Piercer or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, there's
You know
that whole
what?
thing. It's just whenever you go to save, he's just like, ready to rumble, Knox? Like,
He's like,
motherfucker, we're just going to go to bed. What the fuck are you talking about? You know?
You know-
they're
you
playing
know
the
what's
fucking
weird about
game
it
on their
too?
cell
I
phone.
also-
Right.
I started doing every Japanese game I have, I usually go through the Japanese with the translation.
I put the Japanese on because it was so weird. The dubbing on Final Fantasy 15
Yeah.
was horrible. I mean, not everybody was bad. Like,
Yeah.
Noctis was fine, Gladys was fine, but a lot of the other characters, it was like, who the fuck did you... Like, Jesus Christ, why didn't you call me up? I could have came down here and done a ton of voices for you. Clearly, you weren't hiring anybody professional.
Exactly.
Could have got
they
some
weren't
guys off on
hiring-
Newgrounds.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm so surprised at the English voice acting that they had, because, listen, I understand that with a game of that high quality, like, the game is very high quality, and the amount of work I can imagine they put into that fucking game is fantastic.
10 years worth.
But the amount of work they put into the Japanese, because the Square Enix is Japanese, and I wholeheartedly follow through. Japanese voice actors are fan-fucking-tastic. The syncing with their voices and the lip sync was fantastic, and I was all right with all of that. But god damn it, I am an English voice actor in America, in Trump Daddy's America, and I deserve respect. And when I went through that shit, I didn't get it.
Well,
But
it's just weird for the fact that, like, it felt like it was an old...
at the end of the game, I beat it.
Mhm.
And I gave the game back to my friend because he gave it to me for Christmas. And I said, the game
Take
was
this shit
fantastic.
back.
I gave it to him because he said he wanted to play it afterwards. I said, keep it. I love that game, but I'm never going to play it again because I fucked up. It was like if you accidentally raped someone. That is how I felt. I felt like I accidentally raped that game.
I don't think
Because
it's ever happened to me. But
I was just saying, like...
no, it's like
Like, what, like you fell over on it? You're like, well, I'm already here. Might as well keep going.
it's like you both got drunk.
I got
and-
hard. I just fell over. I'm sorry.
It's got a mind of its own.
Yeah,
Was it
like-
good for
like,
you?
You both got drunk and you both got drunk and you fell over and you stuck it in her butt and she didn't like it. But you know what? You went through it anyway, and you woke up the next morning like, oh, what happened? And she's sitting there crying, and you're just like, you're
Look,
such
it wasn't
a nice
good for me
girl,
either.
but
I'm
you know what?
sorry. Shit.
I was like,
I'm a horrible person.
I'm sorry. Just please don't come back. I'm a terrible person. And that's how I feel. I feel like I raped Final Fantasy 15. That is how I feel. And that is a sad thing because the weapons were awesome. The moves were cool. Everything in that game was so neat. But fuck.
I've been playing that game like an old man. I've just been doing all the side missions. Like, I ain't strong enough yet. I got to make some long-term investments. So, it's just literally doing all the side jobs I can to level up for the next big thing. 'Cause I suck at the game, so I need all the training wheels I can get to the next main job. So,
Well,
I've
yeah,
been
like
taking a break from it, but I'm gonna start playing again pretty soon.
that's the thing. Like with me, I actually, weirdly enough, I got into Call of Duty again. Oh boy. I got Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And the only thing about it is one of the reasons why I legitimately like the game is because if you guys haven't seen recently between the time that we've been doing this for about like an hour 40 minutes now, I'm a kid at heart. I'm a young soul. That's how I am. And when I play that game, it treats me like I'm a fucking kid. Gives me flashy colors, cool guns, and just if I actually have skill, people will not be mad at me. And I appreciate that. Because I played Battlefield my whole life, and with Battlefield, I'm very professional with it. When I go in, I have my headset and everything, and I say, all right, so I'm going to be recon. I'm going to keep an eye on everybody. Just make sure that when you guys go here, here, and here, we're going to do it this way, and it's going to be done. It's going to be done right. And then it's just like that. But with Call of Duty, I can just be like, woohoo! And I just start running on the walls, and I start shooting people with my fucking guns, and I'm getting like these high kill counters. And then I'm dropping like these giant wheels that explode on impact on people. It's so much cool shit that I really appreciate it because it's the moment where I'm allowed to use my actual skill, my reflexes and my aim and my processing and do that. But then there's the fact that I can just go a little wild and just run on a wall and feel like a ninja once in a while and just start going ham and just killing people.
So what you're saying is you're not invested nearly as much with that experience.
With what? With Black Ops?
With Call of Duty, because it sounds like it's one of those ones like you're on a free-for-all, where the other one you feel like you're part of a team.
Well,
Call of
actually,
Duty, I just feel like I'm a fucking prison bitch in that.
The only thing is I play on hardcore, so like it's a one-shot kill, and that by itself feels awesome because I was not allowed to have hardcore because yeah, I in Battlefield it's very realistic and it just gives you one type of difficulty, which is you can die by getting shot in the fucking head. Or you get shot with a big enough bullet, you'll die. Yeah, you'll die and you'll come back. But with Call of Duty, like regardless of if it's like a bomb or something like that, you'll heal. Yeah, you'll heal in Battlefield, but both of them have different mechanics and different feels about them. First of all, fuck Battlefield Hardline. Jesus Christ.
I never played it. I never played any Battlefield, to tell you the truth.
Never played it. I'm not. Yeah, like I'm
Believe it or
horrible at
not-
online shooters.
I'm kind of an old school gamer. Like, the last game I just got was I got Resident Evil 7.
You know what? Resident Evil 7 wasn't bad. I'm
actually really impressed with it because I thought I was not gonna like it because I played the little demo, and everything about it was like, fuck, it looks like Outlast, and I hate that style of gameplay. That's why I didn't even buy that Alien game too, because
like
the isolation.
Like I agree with you. Like Outlast was fantastic.
See, I don't like that style though. I'm not saying anything against the game. For if you're into that, that's cool. But
well, like it was terrifying.
I want to be able to like defend myself.
Yeah, well, like I like to be able to defend myself too. Like The Evil Within was a good example because
that's an amazing game.
The Evil Within was a good game because you were given the tools, and if you have the intellect, you can defend yourself. And that's good.
And you can kill everything you want to if you really want. You could run away if you want. It gives you the option. I like that kind of thing. And when I first saw the trailer for Resident Evil 7, I was like, fuck. It looks just like it's going to be that Alien Isolation, that Outlast style, which is not Resident Evil. Like, some people go like, well, we're going back to survival horror roots. I'm like, Resident Evil was always an action game. You played the original one in 1996.
Yeah.
After about the first, handful of rooms, once you finally get that shotgun, you got enough fucking ammo to kill everything.
Did you see that they released the they had a re-release of the original Resident Evil?
You talking about the GameCube one on PS4?
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I got that one.
I appreciated that a lot because I got that, and I have PlayStation Plus, and it's so cool. But back to what I was initially saying was like, with Outlast, the only reason why I necessarily liked it is because I love a good scare. I love a good scare. I love that feeling of like fear. But I have studied martial arts most of my life, and I feel like if I was in that particular situation, I try to fit myself in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, if that doctor came running at me, I would break his neck.
Mm-hmm.
If he ran at me like that, I'd just sneak up behind him and break his neck. And that's a real thing that you can do in like real life. But in the game, if you sneak up behind him, he'll turn around and chop your hand off with his scissor fingers.
Yeah, see,
I
just don't like that style of gameplay. That to me, it reminds me of old kind of stealth games back in the day when it used to be like the enemy would turn around, see you, and it's like, game over, restart the level. And you're like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
well, that's the thing. Because
Solid Snake would just shoot the guy in the face and continue his job.
Yeah.
Well, what's your guys' opinion on Metal Gear Solid 5?
I liked it. It did not feel like a complete Metal Gear game. It's a fun game, but it was a little light on the story, and it felt somewhat uncompleted. So I liked it. It was fun.
I appreciate the ultimate. I appreciate the chemical burger thing that they were doing with the audio tapes. I appreciated that they made the references where they needed to make the references. I'm a little mad that the real ending of the game, the one where I think it's Naked Snake or which snake was it that ended up getting the giant
snake?
It hurts my heart that I had to get the special edition to see the actual ending.
Yeah,
had they actually worked on it and done the last level, I believe the last level would have actually been fantastic because I went through the entire game sneaking behind everybody because I'm a stealth player. I've always been the guy that if I'm given the opportunity, I will snipe everybody on that fucking map and I'll get through it the easiest way because being able to sit back and think about my ideas, think about my strategies and stuff like that. I've always loved that idea. But overall, in the past Metal Gear Solid games, I think one of them that was my favorite because it veered so off of the highway was which one was it? The one with Raiden.
2 or 4.
Is that? I think you might be thinking of everything with Metal Gear Lightning or whatever it was.
No, Metal Gear Solid, like
Resurgence.
Revengeance or
Yeah,
something.
Revengeance.
Resurgence. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, like it was like lightning fast.
It was
action.
pretty much
Yeah.
like the Ninja Gaiden Metal Gear game.
Exactly. Like it was very it was so just Ninja Gaiden-esque that I was like, you know what? I enjoyed this just because it was its own game in itself. I appreciated it, but don't do that with Big Boss or Solid Snake or anything like that because I'll
Because
fucking
it was a
murder
spin-off, so that's fine. Yeah.
you. I'm like,
I was gonna say number 5 felt kind of like I felt like this because people are all complaining about Konami being shitty. That game, you can see Konami. You can literally see them lurching over Hideo Kojima, like rubbing their hands while he makes it.
they had such a big hand over his shoulder. Like they were like if you were sitting right here and their hand was like right here on your shoulder and just gripping.
Yeah, like the idea of like you have to get the special edition to get the final ending, and then like what are the last couple missions? Not new places or new jobs, but like same shit you did, just much harder. How about that? And then like you got a lot of this open terrain and open land, and that's cool, but it feels so empty and so lifeless a lot of the time. So
yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an enjoyable game. It's a fun game to go in and just like fuck with some Russian like soldiers and just like play cat and mouse and get into some shootouts. It's a fun game, but it's just not really. It doesn't feel like Metal Gear to me.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like it. You know what's weird? I played Metal Gear Solid since the original game, like for the was it the NES, right?
MSX.
I was given it for a Christmas present because actually, believe it or not, I believe every old system that I can remember before the PlayStation 2 was I had the PlayStation 1, the GameCube, I had the original Xbox. Well, I have all of them. They're in storage, but I don't have them at my house. Currently, I just have my PlayStation 4. I have my Sega Genesis, my NES, my Nintendo 64. I actually have the day one release of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Oh, the gold one?
Like the day one, the gold one. And it was the first 10. They released a little thing like the first 10. I have like number 9. That's really fucking cool.
Nice.
And it was the American release and everything like that, and it was really cool. But I've always had a deep appreciation for a lot of older games. I've always loved it because it's nice to see that video games have come this far. I can still enjoy those games, but to see that video games have come this far is somewhat of a blessing in itself because everybody is enjoying them.
Yeah.
Everybody and their mother, every time they see the game or see how far they've come, it lets you know that you can still have hope. You can still have hope for all this. Like, those darn kids and their video games and shit. No, it's so much more than that. It's like reading a book. It's so fantastic and fun, and it's just this is a whole world of people, and it's a whole different style of gaming from what I was adjusted to when I was a kid.
I want to say this. It's good that you appreciate retro games because I noticed that section of people has faded away a little bit because now it seems like mostly everybody who's a retro gamer, they're all like in their like 30s and 40s nowadays and 50s, and it's become like that kind of band.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I remember like everybody I knew, we were all like, oh dude, fuck, bring over your Atari, let's fucking like crank this shit out, and that was the old kind of game at the time. But to me, it was like, it wasn't that old, you know what I mean? It was just like, that's just like 10 years prior.
Regarding what you said about,
I have my Super Mario.
Oh yeah, Super Mario 3.
Super Mario.
Oh, that's pretty awesome right there, dude. Oh, got a boo and a piranha plant.
Like, exactly. Like I have always had a deep appreciation for video games well enough that I can imagine and I can remember when I played some of the first releases of certain games, even though within my age range, I shouldn't have been able to play them. Realistically, I was born in 1996, so I should have started. Yeah,
we feel so fucking old, dude.
When I was old enough to play video games, I should.
Mario 64 came out before you did. Holy fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
And like,
all right.
And believe it or not, I have an NES controller on my fucking arm. It's
dedication.
It's because of the fact that I appreciate humble beginnings. Video games have came so far that I was given the chance to have a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3 when I was young enough to get it. Because when I was like 13 or 14, no, when I was 11 and 12 was when the PlayStation 3 came out. So when I was, initially when I was 7 years old is when I got my NES. Because my grandfather asked me, what do you want? And I was like, I want that one. And I saw the NES and I got it, and I got Nintendo Power. I subscribed to Nintendo Power when it stopped.
Yeah, I was subscribed all the way up to the end. Now I get Nintendo Force, which is like the best magazine known to mankind.
You know what? I get that. I get that as well. And
isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah, well, I get that. I get Game Informer. I get a bunch of shit. But the fact of the matter is that the way I was raised around video games was just everybody's just so fucking. I'm surprised to tell people when I talk to them, I'm like, yeah, I remember playing that shit on the NES. They're like, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 20 years old. And they're like, you fucking liar. And I was like, no, I'm serious. And then like certain people I'll bring over to like the little storage unit that I have where I hold all my games and stuff. And I show them all the old systems. There's an endless list to all the shit that I have that I'm happy that I have. Because if I ever want to play my NES, or I want to play my Sega Genesis, or I want to play my Nintendo 64, or I want to play my GameCube, or fuck, man, there's so much. I even have an old DOS system.
Nice. I still have one of those too.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I got into programming when I was younger as well, which is kind of what made me want to play with DOS, because I understood coding prior to playing with DOS, and I was like, okay, well, this should be easy. And then like I got Monster Bash, I got fucking Castlevania, and I started playing those games, and like just starting up the game was a fucking challenge.
Well, yeah, because you got to figure out, okay, where did I put the file? Okay, we got to type in all this codes, and then finally gets there. But it kind of rewards you by the time. It's just cool to be able to do that. Like, it just makes it feel like you fucking typed in fucking codes, and next thing you know, a game started.
It feels like you hacked your way into
exactly.
a game. That's what you fucking feel like. You're just like, you're like, oh, this is C++. I know this. It's like, this is a Linux system. I played with Linux and C++ for such a long time that I can't make a game, but I can sure as hell get somewhere where I need to be if I need to do anything. It's super nice to see that you can have power with such, like, all you need is super user permission realistically, and you could do a lot of stuff. But it depends what you have super user permission over. Is it a phone, or is it a computer, or is it an actual desktop? It really depends. But you know, for my personal opinion, I'm really happy that, you know, where my generation is going is not the best place. It's not the best way, but I would prefer as in where video games are going. Yeah. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, video games are definitely.
I think your generation's. I don't think your generation's really going in the worst place, because I think most of the times, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you know, it varies, probably depends on your opinion, but I think like there usually is a little bit of progression and a little bit of everything in every generation, and I feel like, you know, we're kind of. I guess you'd be considered a millennial by this point. I mean, millennial goes from 1985 to 2000.
No, millennials 82 to I want to say might be either 96 or 98. So you're like literally the tail end of like Generation Y.
Wow.
Yeah, which in that case,
like I've seen us as a community, like my generation from, you know, anybody, let's say 96. A lot of people that were born in 96 with me, a lot of them are focusing on gaining equality for almost every gender. And I greatly appreciate that. I am a white male in modern America, so it doesn't necessarily affect me. I've played around with people. I had like this gay phase when I was younger, and then that didn't work out for me.
Just figured try it out.
Gay face.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I was told the phrase, don't knock it till you try it. And I was like, all right. And then I knocked it as soon as I could.
Not for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's not for me. But, you know, I respect anybody that wants to be comfortable in their own skin, regardless of what they want to do. Like, you want to be a woman and you want to have a penis and a vagina at the same time? Good, fucking do what you want. I don't give a shit.
Well,
Like,
that right there is a good example because a lot of people from our from like I know basically we're almost same generation, almost, as far as
almost.
like
Yeah,
the historian time spectrum of generations go. But really, I mean, 10 years is a pretty big difference for in
it
some
is. Yeah.
cases. But that being said, I can think most people we know like they don't like I mean girl maybe some friends of mine that are girls, yeah, but a lot of guys would not, unless they were totally gay or totally bi, they would not say like I had a gay phase. It might be like this one time they were really drunk, like, dude, can I tell you something? This one time I was really fucking hammered. Where you're just playing like, yeah, it was just not for me. When I think that is right there progression, right? Because a lot of
Yeah,
people like from our
exactly.
generation would have been like, this is shit I'm carrying with me to my grave. Your generation's like, not a big deal. Tried it. Not for me.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you see that like with this generation, we tend to not really give a shit like about that type of stuff because you know, certain people carry that with them like, yeah, I got a dick in my butt. It wasn't my favorite thing, but
Still there.
I'll hold on to
See ya.
that. I'll tell my children about it. I'll tell them what it was like, and
Inclusion.
if they want to do it one day, well, God bless
I
them.
had to kill that man after he did it.
All you
Couldn't
want
live with
really
it.
is for your life to be nice. You just want a nice life. That's what you want.
Well, it's also, I think that, I don't want to get too political here or, guess too
Yeah.
much of the future, but with something like, with Trump right now, I feel like that we got Trump in office right now, and I feel with that because don't get me wrong, I have fairly liberal views, and I feel that
I'm
a
pretty
lot of
relaxed,
like
but
I agree with a lot of like the piece. I agree with like what a lot of PC culture says. I
yeah.
just think they're too much of you owe me an apology. Like
Yeah,
it's like no,
like
no, I agree.
victimizing.
Yeah,
Victimizing fucking people.
it's like, okay, I agree with what you're saying,
Yeah.
but calm the fuck down.
Yeah, like
Steve Martin just said that
exactly.
Carrie Fisher was beautiful and smart. The order doesn't really matter. It's still a compliment.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
like,
Like, you want like speaking as a person like that has to sit in the middle of this cuz I'm in fucking Florida.
mhm.
I'm in a red state right now. And
Well,
I'm
technically, we're from where we're from. Even though, well, I'm living in San Francisco now, but being from Sonora, you'd think it was a red state because people assume all of California is just this giant blue spot. Truth is, a lot of it's red. Just the big cities are
Yeah, a
blue.
lot of it's like super, super redneck conservative. Yeah.
and listen, from my personal opinion, I do think our actual immigration reform has to be strong. Like we should find a way to filter who's here legally and who's here not legally. Like some people fight arm and limb to come over here legally, and when they get here, they're rewarded for it. But then there are people coming over here illegally because they say they're oppressed because they fight their system and our system, and then it makes everybody look like assholes.
And then they abuse it. As long as everybody's
And,
paying taxes at the end of the day, that's what matters.
yes,
And like
exactly. And that's
without
the
going
concept.
without going too much into that stuff, because I could leave into
Yeah,
a whole
yeah,
other
exactly.
bucket of
Exactly.
worms. But the short and simple of it, I think, is that
Yeah.
since we got someone in office who is just let's just a man child, a tiny hand man
Yeah,
child.
exactly. We got
He
Trump Daddy.
since we got him, I feel like that's really going to push this generation to be more active,
Yeah, it's gonna
focus more on the bigger things,
exactly.
and stop looking for like, you know what, all this like peace overly sensitive shit is kind of what kind of got him here to some extent. So
Because of
maybe
the
we'll
fact
pull
that
back on that.
everybody acts like they don't care.
Mhm.
Most of the people that went, I was one of the only people within my age range that was at the polling place.
Mhm.
The entire day. I hung out over there with my friends because I wanted to see.
No, it is kind of funny because you go in there and then like the old people are like, they almost kind of back up for a second, like there's some youth in here. What's going on? Well, come on over here, Sonny. Like,
Like I walk in and they're just like, "Oh, look at you, young boy. You think you're gonna change the world? Well,
Their
I
mouths
promise
drop
you,
like
you
soul.
weaklings ain't gonna get anywhere."
Their mouths draw like soul reader, like
They're
suck
like,
his youth.
get him! Don't
Like
let him
that.
escape! Lock the door on him!
Like a fucking
But yeah,
Dementor.
like it's a whole different community, man. But like, you know what? I'm happy with what's happened because this is what they call a moment of clarity.
Mhm.
I believe that this is going to be a learning experience for not only me, but my generation, the people I live with, and my family. So, I think, as a community, we can all just try to deal with this shit. I'm going to be doing the same fucking thing. I'm going to still not give a shit for what is happening with all that. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to think about what I want to do with it. But in reality, I hope I can come back on another one of these podcasts. I hope I can do more voice acting. And all I can do is hope and try my best. Because at the end of the day, fighting this system is not going to get anybody anywhere.
No, yeah, that's like the thing too. It always makes me laugh when people are out there like protesting, like, "Oh my God, we got to revolt this." I'm like, well, here's the thing: it is a democracy, which means you have to accept losing. If you don't want to accept losing, then you get a dictatorship.
If you don't want this country to fall to shit, you just gotta speak up a little bit. You gotta take your stand. Stop acting like a fucking bitch.
Exactly.
Well, my thing is, I think that many people, I'm not saying the level of like throwing fucking bricks in windows or anything like stupid like that, but I mean, the level of people like protesting against Trump immediately says, asshole, you lost the popular votes. If you're going to be here, change up your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, I can understand. So I have no problem with people to what extent, like protesting, like
exactly.
the extent. I have no problem with the Women's March or any of that shit, but I feel like sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle because everyone's there protesting their own thing. So maybe, but I think
they end up not making it about the thing that they're supposed to be there for. You're supposed to be there standing up for women's rights, and that's it. Just stand up for a multitude of people instead of just that shit that you came there for. Like, I'm gonna go destroy a store and steal a TV.
Well, those people like that's kind of like they look forward to like, oh my God, there's a protest. That means I'm not being watched. I can do whatever I want.
Indulge in the anarchy.
Yeah, those people they don't give a flying fuck. They just want to destroy stuff, and they find an opportunity to do it, and they're like, perfect.
But you know what I think is cool? That you guys actually live near San Francisco, and I have a yo-yo contest coming up in I think it's July. So you know what? I usually go up there for about a week, and I stay over on Ellis and Larkin. Over by the Civic Center. So would you guys like to get together? And this is officially going to be said on the podcast. Do you guys want to get together and do a little podcast together?
Yeah, why not? We should. That's because we'll all be in the neighborhood.
I'd be down for that. Yeah. Assuming I'm still here in July, I might not be here, but if I am, and I'm in the neighborhood, definitely.
Yeah, because you never know where. But July is
away,
for
sure.
You never know what happens, but for the most part, I think that sounds pretty good.
But even if I wasn't here, I'd probably be somewhere still close to San Francisco, so I definitely clear my schedule for that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So listen, that sounds awesome. We will continue talking about that behind the scenes, and that will be a little surprise for all of the listeners. All the listeners around us.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff there.
Awesome.
Well, we talk some political stuff here, but did anybody see the new Resident Evil movie? The stuff that really matters.
I could not give two
I'm a little
solitary fucks about it.
I know you.
I'm
excited. I'll be
I'm
honest.
excited for the new Hideo Kojima game. That's what I'm excited
to do with there was a Resident Evil movie that came out, and it was the end. It was the end of a generation.
I heard about it. I keep seeing the trailer on YouTube. I keep seeing the trailer for it on YouTube. It's like, is this really the end, though? Because you've told me this was going to be the end like 5 times.
Well, it does kind of have that ending where it's like, okay, we defeated the virus, but my battle's not over yet. Let me go out and find more people that need help. So it's like, oh my God, it keeps going on.
It's like, come on now. It's kind of like that overkill moment. Like, I always appreciated the movies because I'm going to be real with you. It's super actiony. It's super awesome. And it's just explosions, guns, violence, all that fun stuff. So I'm excited to see where all of that continues to go in the upcoming future, especially since when is the movie supposed to release? Sometime in February?
It already did, I believe.
Oh, it already came out. It came out a week ago.
Oh, it did? Shit. I'm going to go.
Yeah. So, because I already went and saw it and everything like that. And to me, it's like one of those ones. Those are those kind of movies. When the first Resident Evil came out in 2002, that was like the fucking height of Resident Evil. It was like when like me and all my friends were like, "Oh fuck, Resident Evil's the best thing ever." So we go to see that movie, and that first one is a really, really good movie. Yeah. And it's nice because it almost sort of like ties into the background of the game and runs along there. And then as those kind of movies went on, they kind of shot off in their own direction. And there was a period where I was all like judgmentally like, "Do not like the games." I don't know if I like these nearly as much. But then after a while, you just get to the point where you just go, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm going to accept it for what it is. And once you start accepting things for what they are, then you go, I fucking love them. They're great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, accept it as its own little thing. Because, like, with me, I played the Matrix games. Holy shit. You mix those into the movie. Where'd the vampires come from, Bubba?
Well, I remember, like, the Enter the Matrix game. I played the demo of it. Like, oh, this is actually really fun. And then I told a bunch of people, like, dude, you should go out and get the game. It was really great. And then they get it, and they came back, like, 2 days later. Yeah, I finished it already. It was a lot of the same.
No, I remember when I first got that game, because I was like, I still love the Matrix trilogy, but that was the point when Matrix was my shit. Matrix was my favorite fucking thing in the world. And then, like, I got Enter the Matrix, and Matrix Revolutions was coming out. I'm like, I'm getting fucking amped up. And you play first time you go into bullet time and firing guys, how easy and swift it is. Like, this is fucking amazing. You realize this is all the fucking game is,
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally just a ginormous demo.
That's what we all wanted, was just some bullet time. Like, the same thing with Max Payne. You just want some bullet time, and you want to shoot people in the fucking head with your dual-wield pistols.
Well, it was one of those things, like, it took no skill after a while. It was just literally just bullet time, and then, like, the only hard part was, like, driving the fucking spaceship through, like, the wormholes, because it controlled like shit. That was the only hard part of that fucking game. And then, like, there was the whole part about, like, my favorite thing for being, I'm doing wrong, I love Matrix, and this is out of the Wachowskis' hands, but it's this total anti-establishment, fight the power story.
Yeah,
Yet,
exactly.
What gives you energy? You got to go to a Powerade machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You go to a Powerade, it would refill your focus.
That was total, like, market tie-in.
Fucking marketing.
Yeah, and there's even a part, I understand it's got to get in there somehow, but there's the part in Revolutions. I think you see it for a second in Reloaded. But in Revolutions, they're chasing the train man, and they're running by a massive fucking Powerade ad that's just like against like the wall in the subway station. It's almost like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. They just run by it forever, almost like repeating.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you see, you know what's actually really weird? Like, Hanna-Barbera, I was watching, like, when I was younger, I feel like I watched my own generation of cartoons. Like, I watched Ren and Stimpy, but I also, aside from Ren and Stimpy, I saw a lot of Cat Dog, I saw a lot of Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and it moves on from that to the sense where I've seen some real good shit. Powerpuff Girls? Fucking Powerpuff Girls had blood.
Oh, I love Powerpuff Girls.
Literally, like, if you can imagine beating the shit out of somebody. I mean, Bubbles, for one of the episodes, ran over to one of the Green Gang, and started beating the fucking shit out of them. Like, blood, teeth, and, like, afterwards he looked like he was gonna need to go to a hospital.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
Plus Powerpuff Girls, like, people would die in that. There's an episode where there's a kaiju just destroying stuff.
Yeah,
He kills stuff off screen, like, breathes fire. Like, there's people, like, booing at it, and they just breathe fire down, and you hear people screaming. So, it was... that show was pretty ballsy, plus it was a pretty girl power show. So, it was very violent, very girl power, very different for
And it wasn't only that. It was also other shows that I saw, like... I could give two examples of, like, two polar opposite shows. One is the Spider-Man animated series and the Batman animated series. In the Batman animated series, I watched it for a bunch of different stuff. Mostly story, but they would actually hit people.
Spider-Man, he couldn't throw punches for some reason.
Yeah, he was not allowed to throw punches. And whenever I would watch that on, like, Kids WB or anything like that, I would be like, why isn't he actually hitting somebody? And that's when it didn't click to me when I was a kid, because I was so violence focused that all that I cared about, like, was the idea that it was Spider-Man. Because I had Spider-Man 2 at the time, I had the original Spider-Man 1. My favorite Spider-Man game, though, is Ultimate Spider-Man. That game is my underdog game because of the fact that I greatly appreciate that comic book style game, but it's so overlooked. It's so
I wish
overlooked
the game was
nowadays.
longer. I wish the story campaign was longer than 4 hours. But
yeah. Like, the game is so indulging. Like, when I got the black suit, I had to work fucking hard. I had to find all the coins. I had to find everything. And when I got the black suit, I was like, well, at least we still have a cool fighting mechanic. Like the fighting mechanic was super smooth. Like you could bounce off a wall and kick some guy in the head, and you could spin this guy and smack him on the ground. I wish that they had the chance to take that and paste it in 2017 maybe, or just have a remake of the game, because if you can add some stuff to it, I think it would be awesome. Or just make a whole new game about maybe the death of Spider-Man, because the way they transitioned at the end of the game, I mean, at the end of the comics, which is something I read, Spider-Man died. And that was like, that hurt my heart, because you don't imagine the main character of a series just getting shot. Like, it was real.
By the Punisher, by an
shot.
accident, too.
Yeah, exactly. And he covered it up with his web, and you're like, oh, he just got shot. He's going to be fine. And it's not like that. And that really, that showed me that Marvel was willing to go that extra mile to show that, like, you know, if we want to kill a character off, even though there's millions of universes with him, in the Ultimate Universe, he's fucking dead. Because that by itself had such great story, because it was so relatable.
Well, the thing about the Ultimate Universe is that was right after. It kind of also gave you this sense of security, because Ultimatum happened, where like 75% of the characters from the Ultimate Universe died, very graphically, very horribly. And they're like, oh, Spider-Man died. No, wait, Spider-Man made it out. That's cool. And then just like 3 months later, nope, sorry, he's going to accidentally get shot by the Punisher, and then gets his face smashed in by the Sinister Six. So
exactly. And then like you look at it and you're like, this was gruesome and this was insane, but now it's kind of like the Spider-Man version of a snuff film. Like, you can see how far they're willing to go. Like, Marvel, in my personal opinion, has gone very far with certain ideas. Like DC has gone far, but I think Injustice was about as fucked up far as I've seen DC probably go. I haven't seen a lot of...
DC goes pretty far, but the thing about Injustice is they know it's a parallel universe. So they're like, we can make Superman a bad guy. We can make Batman go further than what he'd usually do. Where I'll say this, like Ultimatum, that right, like Ultimate Universe was the one where they're just like, let's just go haywire. You know what? Hawkeye isn't some good old boy raised in the circus. He's a black ops guy who has no problem killing civilians. Same thing with War Machine. Iron Man's a fucking dickhead. Captain America doesn't like French people. And then they get to Ultimatum, and they like violently. It's still like, I really don't like Ultimatum. I get what they're trying to do, but they made it like a slasher film. Like every page you turn, somebody died horrifically. Like Wasp literally got her guts eaten out by Blob. And that was like
it's really fucked up. And
it's written by Jeff Loeb too, who I really like. So but whatever.
Exactly. Like when you had to watch and you sit there and you had to look at it, you're like, wow. Like, you had to sit back. Like, you have to smoke a cigarette after that shit. And I don't even smoke cigarettes. Fucking, you gotta sit back and be like, fuck, man, I can't even think.
Plus, she was like one of the few, like one of the kind of innocent characters of the Ultimate Universe. She was like one of the few characters kind of had her shit together and wasn't like fucking. I mean, she like fucked around on the side with Steve Rogers for a minute, but beyond that, it was like she's kind of one of the few like decent characters in the Avengers of that universe, because the Avengers were a bunch of assholes in that, which was kind of interesting. But she was one of the few like decent ones. What happens? She fucking dies horribly. Then like Ant-Man walks in like, you ate out my fucking wife and not the way I like, and then like, you know, fucking like grabs Blob, bites his head off, spits it out, you know. So it's like, Jesus, this like, it was almost, I feel like it was trying too hard to piss people off, but it's whatever.
It was trying really hard. It was trying really hard to be fucking gruesome. That was insane.
Yeah, that's how I kind of looked at it too. That's, to me, I don't know. To me, it's like, I know, because like, I like some stuff Marvel, but it's mostly DC things. And sometimes I remember the Ultimate series just reminded me like,
Ultimate Spider-Man was pretty
good. It was literally the ultimate way to try to get you to come read our books. And not saying that there's not good stuff in it, but it did feel like it was trying a little bit too hard. It's like, okay, you guys can back off just a tad bit. You know what I mean? Don't need to do. everything's so extreme here. I mean, I know what that means, because that's that thing. Is like, oh my god, did you guys see the fucking book where Wasp got eaten? You'd be like, no, I didn't fucking see that. Here's fucking $4. Give me that book.
Well, like I believe, part of the opinion, the thing that got me into the Ultimate series was the symbiote, like Venom. I liked the idea that it was like man-made. I liked a lot of what was actually going on there, because one of my favorite Spider-Man costumes is the black suit. Like, just because it's my favorite. Because it makes you a darker person. It brings out some emotion in you that makes you wholeheartedly cooler, stronger, gives you tendrils and stuff like that, and it's really sick. But then you jump into the idea that it's still a symbiote. It's going into your body and your blood, and it's hurting you. And, you know, like, I always appreciated the idea of the symbiotes. Was one of my favorite that Spider-Man had in its universe. Even though, what was the other game? Web of Shadows.
I didn't hear anything good about that one.
Was that the one where you could play as like the different variations of Spider-Man? It's like, here's Spider-Man Noir, and here's Spider-Man.
No. That one's actually Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions.
Oh, okay. Well, that was close.
If you play Web of Shadows, it's actually a game based around the symbiotes. So basically, and Wolverine is in it as well. It's really interesting.
Is he a playable character, or is he just there as a supporting character?
He's there as one of the supporting characters. But there's a lot of supporting characters like Moon Knight, Luke Cage, as I said, Wolverine, Black Cat as well. The Vulture. There's so many people in that game that are references to Spider-Man, and it's an open world as well. And you have, the thing about this is it gives you different paths. It gives you the light path and the dark path. The dark path is when you wear the symbiote suit. You will see how it negatively affects Peter Parker and how it brings out him as a character. So there's two different endings to the games. I'm not going to give it to you, but minor spoiler. The good side of the game is obviously, if you can imagine, the best way it goes out. Like, he's with Mary Jane and everything's fine and they save the world. The other side, however, is Venom, the initial Venom. Peter lets Eddie Brock do his own thing, and then he says, okay, well, I'm going to control the city. And then he just ends up controlling the city. It's really, really cool. It has a pretty good combat wheel. I enjoy the combat a lot. There's a lot of cool powers, and let me see what else. It's just overall. Oh, the swinging mechanic is pretty cool as well. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that.
Now, was that a PS3 game? Was that when that came out? Or was that still PS2?
It was a PS3 game. It's actually PS3. They have a version of it for the PS2, but do not buy it. It's a 2D platformer, and I hate it.
Because sometimes, like, there was a period where they were just making Spider-Man games left and right, and I just kind of fell by the wayside. It was just like, they all look cool, but it was just one of those ones. I just never got around to playing them after the PS2 GameCube section.
It's very weird because that is the case. They always there's a hidden game. I totally forgot which one it was, but it was basically I don't even remember what the damn name of the game was called, but it was a Spider-Man game.
Is it the future one where you're in the future and in the past and you play as Spider-Man 2099? Is it that one?
No. But that one was actually pretty cool. But there's another one. It was super, like, really kid-focused, but it was a pretty cool little beat-em-up game that they had.
Oh, the Friend or Foe, that one? I never played
Friend
it.
or Foe, yeah.
Well, I remember because it was trying to go, like, they're using like models after the movie, but then they threw in some random characters like Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Yeah, and it was.
I never
played it. The game was fun. I had a lot of fun with that game. But overall, I don't have any fair regrets about a lot of the Spider-Man games that I've played. The only one I really didn't like was Spider-Man 3.
It wasn't very good.
Well, that's after coming off of Spider-Man 2, so you're just like, this one's gonna rock this shit, and you play like, never mind.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones.
The swinging mechanic isn't bad. Like I've so far I've played a lot of the games. Like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I'm gonna be getting Homecoming as well. Like, I want to see what they do with it, because Amazing Spider-Man 2 wasn't bad, but the fighting mechanic was as shit as the first one. All the outfits were very clothy. I when they gave me the black suit, I just wanted the symbiote black suit. I didn't want a fucking piece of cloth.
Well, I'll say that they kind of had the something that those games did. Like, I'm not sure. I haven't really played a Spider-Man game in so long, but I remember the first. It was one of those things like it worked for the time, and you kind of understood there's limitations, so you'd understand. But I remember the fighting aspect of 2. I remember liking it. I remember, but even after like, because that was one of those things. Like, that was one of the few movie tie-in games that a lot of people really liked, and that came out. And not, I mean, I know people always go to GoldenEye, but that came out a couple years after the movie. I mean, like right around the same time of the movie.
Wow.
That was one of the few movie tie-ins that actually, oh no, this one's actually pretty good. It's not perfect, but pretty good. And even well after the movie was done and the hype was done, I would go back to that game just swinging around and just using all the weird little tricks you get.
Yeah, just having some fun. I remember I made this little thing called Flippy Patty where I just go to the top of the Empire State Building and just bounce off the edge of the fucking floor.
It was kind of funny just to watch him fall to his death or just almost die, just flatten down, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you wanted to see some crazy shit happen. That,
like, just one of the few days where Spider-Man's, like, his web slingers weren't working, he just flushed, like, fuck! Like, some Wall Street exec just walked by, you know?
I really liked that they did that in the movie. He was like, oh, fuck. Oh, no! And then he just hits the fucking floor, and I'm like, wow, that was real.
That was actually a really good moment in the Sam Raimi. Like, Sam Raimi ones did have, and the third one was a little clunky, but they were good about comedy. Like, they just had, before the Marvel movies really try to hammer in the humor, Sam Raimi was good about just like a little bit of like the awkward long pause in the elevator with the guy in the suit, just kind of like, I'm on my way to the costume party. No big deal. Like, all right.
No, cool. It was more like a nice suit. He's like, thanks. He's like, it's got a little stuffy in there, huh? I was like, yeah, I guess.
Bungie's up in the corner.
Wedgie sometimes. it gets
and there's just like 30 seconds of just utter silence as they're just standing there.
Exactly. Like, it's the fact that they use comedy. It's the fact that they were able to fit in the comical sense of humor that, like, Tobey Maguire is pretty good at acting through, and that the fact that they got Tobey Maguire to do the voices for the games. Like, the first and the second game, I wasn't a fan of the first one, but the second one was one of my favorites. Because, like, fighting Mysterio and stuff like that was fucking crazy. You had to swing on these things that were on their way to the Statue of Liberty. There was so much, like, they took the game and they took the movie and they made it fucking wacky.
I want Mysterio to be in the movies by this point. Like, I really want him to be like, I'm kind of curious to see what they do with him. They'd have to do something a little different. Like, I liked what they did with him in the Ultimate Universe before Spider-Man died, how he was kind of like an online cyber terrorist. And he was also kind of like, it wasn't always him there. It was sometimes a robot with like a fucking flaming head. Like, they kind of took this character who was sort of a joke and made him kind of scary. But I even like him in the aspect of being a joke. You know what I mean? It works various ways. And I think that he's like, such as just a guy
sitting in his fucking apartment.
Yeah, there's so many directions you can go with that character. Being sinister or being a fucking joke, like Kevin Smith made him in his Daredevil run. So it's I'm really curious to see what they do with him in live action.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a rumor actually. I don't know if this is true. There is like, because they were getting ready to do Spider-Man 4 before everyone backed out of it. And there's a scene, an opening scene where Spider-Man's bringing in Mysterio and they pull the helmet off, and they don't know for a fact, but they believe the way the guy was drawn, he looked like Bruce Campbell, and they thought Bruce Campbell was going to have a cameo as Mysterio.
That probably makes sense.
That would have been funny. That would have been a funny little cameo.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to say really quickly. I know it's kind of going back a bit, but you'll find this funny down again. In Resident Evil 6, you want to know the reason why the T-virus was spread in those movies?
Why?
In number 6?
Yeah,
wait, are we talking the video game 6 or
no? The movie, number
the final
6.
chapter.
I kept calling it 7. I'm like, wait a second, that's not right.
See, the final fucking chapter.
Because the thing is, the movie itself, it's just one long third act in a sense. It's just this big fat like. We just gotta plow our way in there and, kill everybody off along the way. But it's funny because this is what they come to conclusion is like, why was the T-virus created? Well, because all the Christians wanted to kill everybody else in the world and create their own Noah Ark. So it just, I'm like, I lean over the Kyle, looking at the movie, I'm like, oh, so the Christians are the bad guys in this movie. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's what created all this stuff.
That's so fucking cool.
It's just
like,
kind of.
I,
like, you
well,
mentioned
I,
some
I give the movie
religion.
credit for attacking. Like, I don't hate Christians, I don't hate people, but I don't like a lot of things in Christianity annoy me. So it's like some of my closest friends are Christians, but I like how the movie's like, yeah, Christianity's the reason of the end of the world. I like the movie that went and did
It's
that.
just kind of funny they go into
Just
they do
shitting-
that's like.
Just sitting on top of that.
But yeah, I was just like, I think that part was kind of
like
cool. The rest of the movie, I mean, it is just kind of, it's not as nearly as good as the last one was, but you know, I just thought that aspect of it was pretty.
But
I mean, I'll be
I'll
honest,
give it an excuse.
I'm not really a huge fan of the movies, so it's like I don't know. I haven't seen them since the third. I didn't like the third, and I know by this point it probably figured out what it wants to be, and it's just probably going through the it's kind of by this point it's kind of like Fast and Furious, like you're either in or you're out.
Well, yeah, 4 and 5 are literally like some of the best ones. So, Austin, did you say you played Resident Evil 7?
I have actually played Resident Evil 7.
Oh, just because the game's actually pretty darn fucking awesome. Actually, it kind of surprised me.
It is. Yes.
I think the fact that it kind of kept feeling like an old Resident Evil game, but didn't have any of the flaws of like sometimes some of the modern survival horror games.
Yeah.
Like you're never screwed over in that game. You know, you technically can fight your way out. I like the block system in there too.
I like that you're allowed to go through different paths. You're allowed to fight it out, or you can,
Run away if you want.
You can run away, yeah. But I didn't do that. They gave me good guns, so I was like, I'm gonna use them.
I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna shoot this old man.
You know, like a rating system, like Leon or Chris, or if you just keep on running away, Pussy.
You know what was actually funny? Who was it? Do you guys remember the name of that character? One of the Resident Evil characters that had like the brown leather jacket and the blue jeans and the blonde hair, kind of like what I have. What was his name?
Oh, Leon from number 4.
Leon from number 4. When I was at Animate Florida, I was walking around in a brown leather jacket and like blue jeans and a pair of like black boots. And someone came up to me and was like, "I love your Leon cosplay." And I was like,
"Oh, why thank you."
Excuse me? And he was just I didn't know I did it. And he was just like, "Yeah, you look like Leon from Resident Evil 4." And I was like, "Oh." And then I Googled it when I walked away from it. I was like, "Oh shit, I do look like him." And then I just went through it the entire day. I'm like, "Who are you?" And I'm like,
Leon.
I'm Leon from Resident Evil.
Oh, you look like
Resident
him. Yeah. We went to Sacramento Comic Con. This going a couple years back, but this one time I went to Sacramento Comic Con. We're going into the entrance of the building, and this monkey guy stops me, and I'm like, Aang from Avatar. And then he's all like talking like, "Do you know the way of Buddha?" And it's like, "Oh shit, he's a real monk."
He's not cosplaying here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh fuck, how do I get out of this? I thought he was just like cosplaying as a Nickelodeon character, but okay.
And I love how like you're like, no, I don't want to donate. He's like, well, just take the books anyways. Well, I want the fucking books. I gotta carry this around all day long now. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I have never been able to just, because I bring my yo-yo with me everywhere, so I try my best not to buy shit at Comic-Cons or like any of the cons, but I end up doing it anyway, and I can't play with my yo-yo unless I put all my shit down, and then I'm like, oh, this isn't fun.
You can use like a Street Fighter character or like a fighting game character, just spin it around, knock people out of the way as you walk your way through the con.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's kind of thing too. Is the second that you buy stuff, then the first thing you go is, "Fuck, I gotta carry this around now."
Yeah, exactly. Like I got I got Law's sword from One Piece over in my closet, and fucking, I don't know why I bought it. I don't use weapons.
I'll say sword vendors at those kind of things are always amazing. That episode of South Park is so true. There's one time there's a Renaissance fair. And there's a Renaissance fair every year over in Tuolumne County, but there's a Renaissance fair there, and it was literally one of those things where I get there and I'm like 14 or 15, and there's this badass katana, and I go to the guy, I'm like, how much is the katana? He's like, oh, it's $80, and I just got paid. I'm like, okay, here you go. And he's like, do you have your driver's license? I'm like, yeah, sure. You're 18, right? Like, yeah, I'm 18. I'm like 14 or 15, like checking my license, like, oh, dude, I left it's in the car. It's like, hey, it's fine. Here you go. I'm just gonna give this child a weapon.
He's like, this kid's got $80. Why should I question any farther?
none of my actual martial arts skill, like none of the martial arts that I study Wing Chun, Shaolin Kung Fu, and fucking Tai Chi. And none of that goes in the swords. It doesn't say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to use a sword. I know how to use my hands. These ain't swords. And then I have
in like odd, weird anime looking sword. I never watched One Piece, but I'm assuming it's a crazy looking sword, right, of some kind.
It's
Did you
just
say
a regular.
One Piece
Say
or
One
Bleach?
Piece.
It's One Piece. Just give me.
Yeah, no
Fuck,
worries.
I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna leave the little safety of my circle. But it's like a regular katana, just painted with a little fuzz on the handle.
Oh, okay.
It's not. If I got the actual comically big one that you could hold on your shoulder like that, dude, that'd be fucking awesome.
There was the sword from there's Seven Samurai, and there's that dude. No, Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai. There's the dude with the crazy. There's the wild card guy with his hair sticking up, and he has that ridiculously long sword with the ridiculously long handle. I almost spent $140 to get that at a Ren Fair one time, but I was like, and that was my thing about the Ren Fair. I didn't really give a fuck for medieval shit, but I was kind of like, okay, there's no sword shop here or anything. I gotta pay $20 to go in there and go to the sword shop. So that's kind of way it works.
Did you guys get the day one edition of Final Fantasy 15?
I got the one in the steel box.
I think I did.
Did you get that little katana, that big ass katana, that fucking
The Master Man?
It's kind of like a giant.
It's the Master Man. You mean for the DLC? Yeah, you get Sephiroth's sword.
Yeah, and that's a big fucking sword.
I used that actually quite a bit in the game because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I got these fucking bonus stuff in here.
Yeah, well, like that's exactly what like Law's sword should look like. It's about as big as that. Only thing is, like, making a sword that big costs a lot of money, and I don't have that type of money. I believe it or not, I've been going through like a little bit of like, I think it's what they call a job crisis, because I have found nothing but jobs. I have found jobs all over the place. I just within the last few months, I worked at a smoke shop. I worked at American Eagle. I worked at Tivana, and then the reason why I transferred to all those jobs was either they were not paying me, I didn't like the experience, the store closed, and now I'm working at Starbucks, and I'm like gratefully happy. But
well, see, at least where you're at, it seems like jobs are very like fluid there, because in California, it's like somebody's almost got to die for you to get a job.
It's more about my actual work ethic. Who I am as like a job searcher. I have a good work ethic, and I have a good availability. Like I told you guys, like Monday through Wednesday is the days that I focus on voice acting, and then Thursday through Sunday, anytime that they need me, which are the busiest days of the week, take me. Do whatever you need to do. And that's what they usually like profess in doing for me. But overall, like from my personal experience, a friend of mine has been looking for a job, and he hasn't been able to find one. And he has a more sophisticated resume, not more stuff on his resume, but more sophisticated, more well worded. And every time it's just how I meet people. I told you, it's how I meet people. It's how I go in, instead of just giving them signing up for the job. I'll go in, I'll introduce myself, I'll let them know who I am.
Are you Leon?
Are you Leon? I'm Leon from Resident Evil. Hi, I would like a job here at Starbucks.
I'm a CIA agent. This is how I talk.
I'm a CIA agent. This is how I talk. And like, I walk into a job and I want to get hired, and that's it. I say I need a job because I need the money. I have good work ethic. Here's my resume. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we're actually looking for someone. I was like, cool, awesome, let's do it. And it was like, all right, well, let's go through an interview process. Then after the interview process is over, they say, go home and fill out a fucking application and we'll get you ready next week. And I was like,
oh, there you go. Well, I just noticed that, like, yeah, the second that you sort of leave California, it's like, oh my God, there's jobs everywhere. Like, when I was in the South for a little bit, it was just like, fuck, there's a job on every corner. It's just like, hey, come get a job. Get a job. Here's a job for you, sir.
You get a job. You get a job. Everybody. Get your jobs.
It's kind of like grapes. It's kind of like Grapes of Wrath, except you gotta go a little bit east, not all the way west, but a little bit east.
Even in the cities, I mean, like in the cities, if you need to get a job, you can get a fucking job in one day if you just need something. But sometimes even like some of the other stuff too, it's like, Jesus Christ, somebody's got to fucking like go away or die or move, or you got to know, you got to get that like right foot in.
Yeah, yeah. I like working for a nice little corporation like this, like Starbucks. Fucking, there's a Starbucks on any damn street corner. So if I want to transfer somewhere, they can transfer me.
Yeah, see, there is the upside to something like that.
Yeah, there's the upside to where you have a day job somewhere where it's nice. The only problem about it is that as I I have a fear in the back of my mind where I will end up having like, because it was the same thing with yo-yoing. Um, I had a small little fan club that came down to Miami once to see me, and just I worked at Outback Steakhouse, so they all sat down. They never bought anything, and they just wanted to see me play with yo-yos. And I almost got fired that day.
The guy who was the manager there just probably could not figure that out to save his life. He's probably staying up late at night.
My manager was my closest friend, and he was just like, Austin, listen, I don't mind you yo-yoing for some customers here and there, but your fan club is here. What the fuck? Like, don't start with this shit. And I'm like, no, I didn't mean it.
He asked me to do it.
And they weren't even my fucking fan club. They were just some people who knew who I was. They were like my fans. They said they were a club, and I was like, I didn't approve of no club.
They just put you out front and they just have you doing yo-yos in front of like the Outback Steakhouse sign.
Like a sign on.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
Yes, exactly that. It's fucking insane. But no, like, that's my fear. Like, one day I think, like, with voice acting, this is such a bigger community than what I'm expecting. And I know that one day I'm gonna move away from this house and I'm gonna start, doing jobs over in like San Francisco, or I'm gonna go to Los Angeles, or I'm gonna go to New York, or I'm gonna go to Oregon, or I'm gonna go somewhere where the voice acting community is strong.
Mm-hmm.
And once I do that, I have the fear in the back of my mind. It's not a strong fear because I love meeting people, but I have the fear that I'll get kind of known and people will come to my job and talk to me while I'm working.
Well,
which I appreciate more than anything, but it was the fact that it happened in such a small community within 7 years, that within 7 years in this actual community, it'll be insane.
Huh.
Aaron Hansen, Ego Raptor, talked about working at Blockbuster and people walking up to him like, dude, you made those awesome cartoons. Like, yeah, I did. He's like, what are you doing at Blockbuster? I'm like, I just made some cartoons online. This is before Game Grumps and all that, so.
Exactly. Like, you get noticed for certain things. Like, certain people that I never even knew will stop me and be like, you're the yo-yo guy. And I'm like, yeah, I play with the yo-yos. And
is there like YouTube videos of you at competitions and all that, or?
Yeah. Most of my YouTube channel up until now has been nothing but yo-yo videos. I actually have yo-yo tutorials for people and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to be able to teach people how to yo-yo and be creative with it and have fun. But the only thing is, it's not a lucrative thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lucrative thing.
Mm-hmm.
I make next to nothing from YouTube because of all the videos that I did. But the main reason why I did yo-yoing was for entertainment of myself and the others around me. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for any of that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's because I'm a pretty chill guy and I like making friends and I like hanging out and I like chilling. So whenever I work with people or I see people at contests, we all just hang out. Some of these super well-known people will see me, and when they ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I'm doing voice acting. They're like, get the fuck out of here. And now people who I looked up to like 2 years ago are now following me on Twitter, liking all my stuff, following me on Facebook, like doing all this shit that I was like, my yo-yo stuff wasn't cool enough, but the fact that I can do a little bit of a wacky voice makes you want to listen to me now. All right, fuck, fine. All right, cool.
Yeah, it is always kind of weird how that sort of is.
Like
they'll won't accept you for one thing nearly as much, even though that might be your main talent. But then you do something else on the side, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, people are much more into that. And it's weird, even voice acting too. Sometimes it's like, you think about voice acting, it's literally one of the most simplest jobs when you compare it to like everything else artistic. It's kind of like, there's some of those artistic ones that, and you'll meet somebody every once in a while. It's like photography too. When people start talking about photography, like, oh my God, I'm this prestigious thing. It's like, shut the fuck up. Are you out there animating right now? It's like, no, you are not doing nearly as much work as everybody else. You take some fucking pictures, you take 1,000 of them, you pick the 10 nice ones in there, boom, you're done. It's real simple compared
Exactly.
to other things. And voice acting is kind of
Yeah,
like
like,
that too. You know,
Like, you just take a bunch of takes and stuff like that. Like, with voice acting, I love it because it's both surprisingly easy, and I can do it within the confines of my room. And I love that because I have a nice isolated room. Everything sounds good. My microphones are nice, and my actual vocal quality is it's all right for the most part. I could practice more. But from where I stand, um it's easier because I'm doing this animation with this one guy, half cactus on Twitter, and he did this great thing on Newgrounds that I thought it was fantastic. And actually, speaking of which, you just sent me a text. I'm gonna be recording the lines today,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna do that, and that thing will maybe take me like 20 minutes.
well, that's what I love about voice acting is like you could do something, yeah, it takes you 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you get paid like the exact same amount that like if you did video editing or animation, you would have to spend
Yeah.
so much more hours just to get that. And it's funny, people don't even like bat an eye. It's like, oh, you did voice acting? Okay. Here's some lines, record them, and then here's a couple $100. You're like, fuck. If I did a video editing, I'd be working on this thing all week long now.
Yeah. The only thing is I haven't gotten to that part where they give me the $100.
Well,
I'm
most
still
of the time
doing the
with
free
mine,
shit.
the voice, it's like a lot of times I'll do like on Upwork or something. I'll be like, oh, I'll edit a video, and then be like, oh, you do voice acting too? Well, can you do the narration as well? Well, fuck yeah, I'll do the narration too. Like that's mostly how it kind of happens for me. So it's like a bonus on top.
I'm just trying to find stuff that I can do that's like a short little project that I can do that'll make me some money. But every single time I apply to a job on Upwork for some reason, I don't get it most of the time. That or they contact me like a month later when I'm in the middle of this pool of like free projects that I've been working on.
Exactly. Like I just got one from Upwork too. I was like, the guy was like, oh, sorry for getting back to you late. And I look at the date. I'm like, I fucking sent that in November. Like,
Yeah,
getting
like,
back to
dude,
me
this
late.
is-
Like, talk about getting back to me like way late, not like a week late. Because I thought I'm like, oh fuck, was that like a week ago? Because the thing is after a while, you just don't remember any of them. You just apply to them blindly, and then you kind of.
Like, sorry,
Yeah.
post-production was hell.
I don't know what it is. I will say
Exactly.
that, like, when Elance turned over to Upwork, I felt like it was harder to get jobs. I felt like I got jobs way easier when there was Elance. I don't know if that has anything to do with how it's set up, because you think it'd be all the same people generally.
It's actually like I tried looking for myself on Upwork. It was very difficult. Like it's hard to find. It's hard to find an area where you're comfortable, where everybody can find you. With me, I use my social media for those things.
Mhm.
I actually use my networking skills in real life, and I say, if you need a voice actor, or if you want to do something and you need a voice actor for it, here, feel free to contact me. And most of the jobs that I've done recently are like on Newgrounds. I'll just go and I'll do what I usually do, which is I'll watch a few videos, I'll judge some things, and then I'll contact the animator of an animation I think is really good. Not too amazing, but like up and coming. People that aren't like super popular, but people that are getting there. Some people will contact me for jobs, but for the most part, when I go out and I look for people, most of the time on Newgrounds, they say yeah, because I just offer my services for free.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely a good way to do it, because at least the upside of voice acting, when people ask you, like, for animation, if somebody asks you, can you do this animation for free, you almost kind of want to go like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you asking me to do like 80 hours of work for nothing? It's like, no.
Exactly. Like,
but voice
you have
acting's
to
like,
look
yeah,
for...
I got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that. Sure, what the hell?
And there's that whole
Exactly.
promise of like for animations, the whole promise. Well, the next thing I'll get you for, it's gonna push you and I'll really support you. It's like, no, go fuck yourself, pay.
Yeah, because animation's
exactly.
animation's like one of those ones like I think people kind of forget that, but it's like there's no fucking joking around with animation. It's like super serious. It's like surgeon serious when you're asking an animator to do something.
Yeah, like if you're gonna ask them to do something like that, you're asking them to take hours out of their day, hours, if not days out of their life, to focus on something that you either have to pay them for or you have a lot of fame to offer them. Because it's one of those two things. You're not going to say, I'm a new kid, I'll talk about you a lot on my thing. No.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those ones. It's like there's certain things that like, yeah, okay. But yeah, animation wise, it's like, no, there's got to be something really, because one's like, if I'm going to take 40 hours to do something, I'm going to do 40 hours of my own thing, I'm not going to do 40 hours for somebody else's that doesn't involve any money or anything like that.
Well, like,
I've never done
me
a free
with this kid Half Cactus. This was a totally different thing. Like, the dude's super cool and awesome, but like when he said he wanted to do an animation, I said, "Oh, awesome. So, do you have any scripts or anything?" He said, "No. Let's come up with an idea." And I was like, "Let's do it, man." And then we came up with the idea for the skit, and then I revised it. I added a little bit of what I thought could be in there too. Like, we both came up with it collectively, then we did some revisions here and there, and then the end project, after this podcast is over, I'm going to sit down and record it. And it is so cool to see that process. It is so nice to see that, like, once my voice is recorded and done, then we can do all the fun stuff, which is the promotion and all that shit. But, like, that's what I've done with tattoos. Like, all my tattoo work that I've had, I never paid for. Just because I meet so many people and I make so many friends that I can kind of just be the poster boy for their work.
Yeah, there you go. That works.
Exactly. It's just a nice time, man. This entire podcast was like so much fun. You guys are cool to talk to.
So you, man.
Yeah,
we'll like get you on again some point.
Well, this is the reason, the podcast, this is how it kind of came around originally. We were doing animations, and we're like, well, fuck, these animations take so goddamn long to come out that, like, people are going to forget about us by the time the next one comes out. So it's like, well, we're listening to podcasts all the time. It's like, well, let's just start up a podcast. That's something that doesn't take a whole lot of your time out of your day. You could do one once a week, so at least you're always there, and you always at least have something to come out. And then when you have an animation or something like that, boom, it's like, it's not like you disappeared for, fucking 6 months on like sabbatical and came back.
Exactly. So like, you have the chance to be able to, focus your time on doing something where you just sit down, talk about some stuff, and people listen to you. And it's just nice.
It really is. It's like, I always look at, like a lot of times we've done this before, you could kind of compare the different like sectors of art and like, okay, which one do you want to do like out of life? Like, and I've tried everything. I've done music, I've done movies, I've done animation, I've done comics and podcasting and radio and all this kind of different stuff. And you kind of at the end of the day, you're like, well, which ones do you like the most? If you had the chance to do one just 100% professional, what would be the ultimate one? It's like, fuck, podcasting by far. It's like, this is the ultimate thing. It's like you sit down, you talk, you learn stuff, and you have a fun time and make laughs. It's like, what's not to like about that?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the one thing about podcasting is I will say you do actually after a while, because there's a period where I myself, I felt like I had a lull in the show, but I feel like you kind of got to go out and do something or try something a little different just to kind of like have something to talk about. Because there's a period where it was like same old routine. Like, did you see the RoboCop trailer? I don't know, where you actually where you actually sometimes it's one of those things like it kind of also gives you a reason to actually kind of go out and want to be more adventurous and check out more things to come and talk on the show.
Well, like I actually messaged I messaged Spencer about this yesterday. I thought you guys had like like a list of topics that you guys wanted to talk about. And I was just like, you know what? I want it to be a surprise. I want this shit to be like as genuine as physically possible. But as soon as I got on this, we started talking about stuff. We even forgot to do the fucking opening.
No, yeah, we're told that always throws people off. Whenever people come on our show, they're like, "Oh, you want to send me the list of like topics and things you're going to talk about on the show?" I'm like, "The what?" I'm like, "No, we literally just kind of freeball it and just kind of go from there." Every once in a while we'll do kind of like something special. Like we got these ones, we call them retrospects, and a lot of times we'll pick like an old movie or something like that. Like one of the last ones we did the big hit with Marky Mark. And we just sit down, we just talk about one movie for about an hour or so and just go really in-depth. And that's kind of fun there because it changes up the formula, gives you a reason to really research a movie you like, and then have some fun and tell facts. So it breaks it up. But for the most part, I kind of like just kind of freewheeling it in there. I don't want, you hear some other people's podcasts and they're like, okay, and now comes for the news section of the show. Cue the music. It's like, okay, what happened in the news today? And that always to me sounds so almost robotic, kind of like, okay, we're just.
It sounds very radio-esque.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I feel podcasting's supposed to be, we're not radio, we're something different, Yeah,
it's just guys sitting down trying to, trying to let everybody know that they're still active, but also holding up a conversation, and this is a means of entertainment.
Mhm.
This is something people sit down, they listen to on their free time, and they appreciate a sensual, sexy voice. Like these people are
A little hard right now.
Yeah, exactly. See, yeah, all you need is just a little deep voice to make the ladies wet. Like all you legitimately have to do is just have fun and be genuine, and people will love it.
Yeah, that's pretty much at the end of the day. That's kind of what it is. As long as I can say the two things generally that are the most important to a good podcast is make them laugh, make them learn. If you can do those two things, you got it all. Because you get some people's podcasts and you got real smart people on there, but they're not funny whatsoever, and those can become a bore real quick. And then there's other people's podcasts where they're almost like too funny, and they kind of forget to like have like a meaning to their episode, where they're just having too many laughs. And that can sometimes get kind of old fast. So I feel like you need the nice counterbalance of the dead center.
And that could just fall out on like comical tangents and stuff like that. There's so many things that are subjective within the podcasting industry. And this is, believe it or not, this is my first podcast, and this was such a fucking treat. This has been so nice.
We popped your podcast cherry.
You want to know what episode this is for us? This is episode 282.
Holy mama. That's a lot of podcasts.
That's a lot of episodes. That's a lot of hours of us just babbling about Batman and Bruce Springsteen and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it really is at the end of the day.
Still, I see that you guys do have like a following. Like I looked you guys up prior to getting on this. I checked you guys out, and like I sat down and I listened, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be as genuine and fun as I thought it was going to be.
And that's what it is. We just try to keep it fun and funny, and and we've been just doing the Skype podcast here and there. Like if we ever do an in-person one, those are always kind of like the best way to podcast.
Yeah.
There's something special about the in-person one. You get I don't know what it is when you sit down on the Skype one. It's not that they're bad, but you feel like you're a little bit more relaxed. Like, oh, I'm here talking on my 2001 Space Odyssey TV screen.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're in person, it's almost like, here we are here. We're podcasting together. And something that I've always wanted to do, but it seems like everybody I know who podcasts are all fucking on the East Coast. But I'd love to do like a podcast tour, like in a sense, no different than bands. Everybody gets up, you go to these different clubs, and everybody does an hour set, and then you switch to the next podcaster. I think that'd be a real hip, fun thing to do. I just got to meet people in California that actually do it.
I think that would be pretty chill.
I feel
like with me, I don't mind traveling. So like, if I can take like a week out of my life, tell my work, hey, you guys, I'm gone for about a week. I'm gonna fly over to San Francisco, do a podcast with some guys, and I come over there and I just chill with you guys, and we just sit down, smoke a few blunts, just talk about shit, like that. And we'll record a few episodes. Like that would be just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. No, that's always really fun to do too.
Well, I'm pretty sure if I'm going over there, we'd probably hang out and chill and fucking go out, do a little bit of partying the night before. But what I think we can do is I can post on my Twitter like, hey, what do you guys want to see for like an idea for a podcast, and we can have people like submit stuff on my Instagram as well, on my Facebook, and people can submit ideas to the can submit some topics, and I could print that out and bring that with me on the flight.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about podcasts.
Yeah,
there's so many things to do. It's like the most open-ended source of like entertainment, And I love when I see other people's podcasts and they start doing like random things, like, here, I'm gonna read my fucking book to you. It's like, well, that's cool, that's different.
I'm gonna read my book to you.
Well, some people say like that. Yeah, it's like, well, that's cool. He's a writer, and he said, hey, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna I'll read it out loud. It'd be like a book on tape, but instead it's coming out in podcast episodes.
Have you been listening to Black Goat Motorcycle Club?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay, that was that. Okay, I told you about that. That was that one podcaster I like who started reading. He's a writer. He's reading his book on his podcast. So I thought you were like, oh, you started listening to that too. So I just assumed that.
No, I'm not a fucking nerd.
Oh, I see. Well,
you like it? It's a werewolf / biker story. I think you like it.
That sounds pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that idea.
Jason Murphy. He's a really cool podcaster and writer.
Okay.
I totally forget the quality of this microphone, like when I have my face so close to the goddamn mic. It sounds really nice, but like I have to hold it at certain levels or it won't.
I love that you're double fisting it too.
Yeah, you gotta have the distance.
Yeah, I'm keeping my hands steady. I ordered this little cube that you can like fiddle with, so
Mhm.
that I can like, cause I have like some type of ADD or something, and I always need shit to play with.
Mhm.
Like
That's what happens to
you have your little ghost.
my
That's
Pac-Man
the-
ghost. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm actually gonna be. We were gonna be doing a thing on my forearm where it's every single Pokeball. The main one was the original Pokeball, and it's holding its mouth. It's holding itself open like Pac-Man,
That's
and
awesome.
it's eating all the other 40. I think it was 48 Pokeballs.
Oh, like every
48
single
Pokeball-
one, like
I
great
lost count,
balls,
yeah.
net balls.
Every single one, like the little orbs, and between each one was going to be a between each one like the little fruits would be, it was going to be like a Nintendo handheld console.
Oh, there you go. That'd be pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, just have each.
Yeah,
different
it sounds
one.
awesome. Yeah, and it was just going to go all the way down my arm like that, and I think that's going to be cool. But as I said, money,
Oh yeah, yeah.
money is a lot of money.
Even do the font like Pokey-Man, you know,
Yes.
the
So
apostrophe.
you
Well,
pronounce it like you're
It was
a grandma.
initially just gonna be. It was initially just gonna
Yeah.
be a reference for people who actually played Pokemon and stuff like that, and like the background was gonna be super pixelated and stuff like that. There were so many ideas that I have for stuff that I want to do, whether it be podcasts or like skits and stuff like that. But overall, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It really is, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of supporting people.
Well, it is that kind of thing. I've learned that you really gotta pick and choose what you do. I think when I was younger, both me and Ryan were, that's when you're like, oh fuck, we're gonna do this and that and all these different projects. And then at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you gotta go, no, fuck, you pick one main project, one side small project, and that's about all the time you're gonna have. Because you really just do not have the time to do
Wow.
too many different things, or else you get kind of like spelled out, and next thing you know, you're not getting anything done because you've only done like 10% of work on every single thing.
It's like
Mhm.
overwhelmed.
Exactly,
Really.
and that's why it's best just to keep it super simple as be, and that's why I kind of like the podcast. I think is the perfect secondary one because it doesn't take up too much time. It's fun. It's easy in a sense as long as there's not too much editing involved.
And there is my little brother. All right, everybody.
Perfect timing.
Well,
Thanks a lot for coming on, man.
it was fantastic.
Okay, Austin. Well, yeah, we gotta do this again sometime soon. Probably. I feel like the initial one's always super long, and then after that we can just start doing like regular like length episodes. Go from there.
Exactly. Like we'll fall into the regular
Yeah.
episodes where it's like Austin's back again. Yeah, motherfuckers. It's like all right, Austin, chill out.
But yeah, but cool. Well, enjoy the rest of your day doing some voice acting, going to Wendy's, all that fun stuff, and then we'll just go from there.
Very much, you guys, and thank you for having me on. It was what they call a hoot.
Glad to have you on. We'll get you on another time.
Hoot and holler.
All right.
Maybe some cartoons later in the line too.
Ooh, Bisc, I want to do that shit. Let's do that fun shit.
There's all kinds of fun stuff.
All right. Well, guys, I hope you have a safe day for me, and I will see you guys on the next episode of
Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes,
I'm Ryan
I'm
Dunigan.
Austin Cook,
and that was Skype running us all together.
and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange Podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.